Welcome to the World of Warcraft What's Next panel.
Hola a todos, aquí Mailman Grumpy de los Crying Grumpies con otro vídeo de la Blizzcon 2017. En este caso, vamos a hablar de las novedades que van a haber para World of Warcraft.
Could not be more excited on behalf of the entire Warcraft team to share with you what we've been working on pretty much since the moment Legion came out. The next chapter in World of Warcraft, Battle for Azeroth. Now I know every Blizzcon is special, and I'm a bit
Como hemos
biased
visto
here, but there's something particularly special
en el vídeo de la
about WoW
presentación de la
expansion
BlizzCon,
announcements. So,
vamos a tener
this will be a
varias
good day.
novedades, vamos a tener una nueva expansión,
So I know you have a lot of questions after what you've
vamos a
seen,
tener
and
un
so we're
servidor
gonna try to walk you
clásico
through a
para poder
whirlwind
jugar a
tour
cómo
of what
salió
this
el juego
expansion
hace
has to
ya
offer. The setting,
la
the
tira de
story, the
años.
characters, the features, the systems, and more. So without further ado, let me introduce our creative director.
Lo que no sé si será con los gráficos actualizados o con los gráficos clásicos, las clases clásicas y todo eso. Luego se verá.
Thank you, Ian. Nice shirt. This is the new shirt. Hello, Blizzcon.
Battle for Azeroth.
Good to see you
Es
all
la
again.
nueva expansión después de Legión.
We are here today to
Alex
talk about the Battle for
Afrasiabi.
Azeroth and prepare you for the coming war. By now, we've all seen that incredible cinematic where from the get-go, battle lines are drawn. And what I like best about that cinematic, and it does so many things so well, is that it reinforces the foundations of Warcraft. Because whether we're fighting the Burning Legion, the Scourge,
Vemos la imagen de Sylvanas peleando con
Dragon Aspects, Elemental
con
Lords,
Anduin.
or yes, time-traveling orcs.
Y todo lo que hemos hecho durante estos años en World of Warcraft.
Are with our factions. We do what we do in this world, first and foremost, for the Horde and for the Alliance. Not them. And that makes us the champions of Azeroth, the greatest hope the world has ever known, and also its biggest threat. But this is WoW. We don't just get to watch awesome cinematics, we get to live them. Because to get to the battle for Azeroth, you're gonna have to go through the battle for Lordaeron. Like the Broken Shore, we'll pick up where the cinematic left off. And what goes down that day will change Warcraft history forever.
Vale, cuentan que como en el principio de Legión, la cinemática nos deja
Hey Alex,
en la zona del principio de la expansión, con todo lo que ha pasado, con todo destruido, con todo... En Legión empezábamos con la muerte de Varian.
Why would the Horde burn down Teldrassil?
Vale, aquí cuentan que la Horda va a quemar el árbol del mundo, Teldrassil.
Did Teldrassil fall first? Did Teldrassil fall first and lead to the attack on the Undercity? Or was the burning of Teldrassil a response to the bold Alliance attack on Lordaeron? You'll find out.
Que puede ser de las dos formas, que
Think about this. The stage is
los orcos
set
queman el
for an
árbol del
Alliance
mundo.
controlled
Bueno, la Horda
Eastern
quema el
Kingdoms,
árbol del mundo porque la Alianza ha atacado a Lordaeron, o que sea al revés, que sea Lordaeron,
which leads us
el ataque de
to our search for
Lordaeron,
allies.
lo
In
que
our
haga que
quest
la
for
Horda
victory,
queme
we
el
will
árbol
seek
del
out the
mundo.
Volturians as the Alliance and the Zandalari as the Horde. Coincidentally, both of these nations have extremely powerful navies, which we're going to need to span that Great Sea. Let me leave you with this thought. No boats. Some boats. Let me leave you with this thought. No matter who fired the first shot, we are in an all-out war. It's our duty as alliance.
Que no importa quién empezase la guerra, pero estamos en una guerra total, la alianza contra la horda.
To defend our people, our families, and our homes. This is the battle for Azeroth. So to recap, the Alliance and the Horde are in an all-out war. Old hatreds have reignited as both factions strike at each other's hearts. Now, with the world divided, we seek out lost territories and new powerful resources. And with no external threats, we turn our fury on each other. We fight for our faction's survival and our place in this world. And to win this war, we're gonna need all the help we can get, which leads us to find new and old allies alike. And that takes us to Kultiras and Zandalar, which opens up 2 new continents to the game, which we're gonna take a look at right now.
Vamos a tener los 2 nuevos continentes, Kultiras y Zandalar, donde iremos a reclutar aliados para nuestra batalla.
Kultiras was founded 3,000 years ago when a group of Gilneans left the old empire to explore the Great Sea. They came upon this cold, mountainous island, rich in natural resources, and decided to settle in. Now, over the course of the next 2,500 years, the Kultirans built the most powerful navy on Azeroth. A navy that the Alliance
Durante 2500 años, Kultiras ha tenido la fuerza naval más poderosa de todo Azeroth.
Lastly, Kultiras is broken up into 3 main regions. We've got Tiragard Sound in the middle.
Y está dominada por 4 casas nobles, aunque son solo 3 territorios. Vamos a ver.
All right, first up, we've got Tiragard Sound. So Tiragard Sound sits on an inlet in the middle of the continent, and it connects the Great Sea. It's the main connection point for all of the different zones. Now, within Tiragard, we'll
En
find the
Tiragard
capital city
Sound
of
está la
Kultiras,
capital de
Borealis.
Kultiras,
This will also be
es la zona
the Alliance's
central del
main base of
continente.
operations in the battle for Azeroth. So this will be your hub. Now, I mentioned that Kultiras was ruled by 4 houses. When we get to Tiragard, we'll meet the first of these houses, led by a familiar name, Proudmoore.
Y
Meet Catherine Proudmoore, everybody.
digamos que sería la
This
reina,
is Jaina's mother, and I want to go on
es la
record
madre de
here, just
Jaina,
head this off.
Catherine
She's
Proudmoore.
100% not a Dreadlord. Not. Now, Kultirans by nature are monster hunters, specifically big, nasty sea monsters, which has led to a much hardier breed of human, like these big fellas over here. And I also mentioned that the zones each have their own problems. Well, in Tiragard, one of the problems has to do with pirates. Normally, the outlaws of Kultiras hang out at the pirate city of Freehold. But in recent months, they've gotten a little bold and have started to attack Tiragard Sound. And we're
El
going
mayor
to
problema que tienen en esta zona son los piratas que se reúnen en una ciudad de Freehold, aunque últimamente se han vuelto más bravos y atacan a todas las zonas que pueden. Y aquí vemos un poco de la capital de Kultiras. Les recuerda un poco la estética a Gilneas, que también es el primer reino humano del continente que llegó a contactar con ellos. Supongo que será una ciudad del tamaño de tamaño grande.
Moving on to Drustvar.
La segunda zona, Dustvar.
There's a Q&A tomorrow. You can ask your questions there. Moving on to Drustvar. Drustvar is a forested, mountainous region that's located in the southwest part of Kultiras.
Una zona de
Lord and Lady Waycrest govern this
bosques y
region,
montañas.
but in recent months, they've been suspiciously absent from public affairs. And this has been a huge cause for concern for the people that call this place their home.
Los líderes de esta zona son la familia
Now,
Waycrest,
this
pero que
absence
últimamente
has also
no
put a
se,
stop to the main contribution that Drustvar makes to Kultiras.
no se han visto públicamente
Arms
y son los que
and
proporcionan
sausages.
armas a Kultiras.
I'm honestly not sure what's worse. It feels like sausages is worse. Now, as we're exploring Drustvar and trying to uncover the mystery of the missing Waycrests and restore order and sausages, we'll find that the land is cursed.
Es una zona que está
And you can
maldita.
start that story today on the show floor with the Drustvar playable demo. So after we're done here, make sure to get out there and give it a go. Let's take a
Y
look at a
esto es
video for
jugable
Drustvar.
ahí en la Blizzcon. Bosques. Pequeño pueblecito. Una bruja. Un nuevo tipo de elemental. Monstruitos. El agua del río no se ve muy saludable, que digamos. Y vamos a pasar a
Last up in Kultiras,
Storm
we've got
Song
Stormsong
Valley.
Valley. Now, unlike Tiergard
que es
Sound
la
and
tercera
Drustvar,
zona.
Stormsong Valley is lush, green, and beautiful. The area is ruled by House Stormsong, and the people of this region are devoted to the sea with a fanatical religious fervor. Now, they're led by a group known as Sea Priests. It's through
Son los que
Stormsong and the
proporcionan
Sea
los
Priests
barcos
that
a
the
toda la
mighty
zona de
Kultiran
Kultiras.
Navy is built.
Son muy
Every
religiosos,
ship, every piece that
una
goes
religión
into every ship
que
must first be
venera
blessed
a todo
by
lo
the
que es
sea
el
priests
mar.
before the vessels are deemed seaworthy. They take their shipbuilding really seriously here. Now, when we get to
Y dicen que es una
Stormsong,
zona
we'll find that
verde y muy
shipbuilding
bonita,
operations have come to a
aunque
stop
está siendo
as
invadida por
ancient
fuerzas
dark
oscuras.
forces are attacking from the sea. And quillbores. Lots and lots of quillbores. Let's take a look at a video of
Javaespinos.
Stormsong Valley.
Y asumo que atacarán nagas, porque dicen que vienen muchas fuerzas oscuras del mar. Pero veis, un bonito verde valle. Ah, no he enseñado ningún bicho.
All right. Beautiful. All right, so we've gotten a glimpse into the areas and zones of Kultiras. Let's switch gears and take a look at Zandalar for the Horde.
Y ahora vamos a ver el continente de la Horda, Zandalar.
So, without a doubt, troll civilizations are some of the oldest on Azeroth. And the Zandalari Empire is no exception, having been formed some 16,000 years ago. Now, the island we know as Zandalar today was actually once a landlocked mountain range. But the Sundering changed all of that when the mountains and most of the empire sank into the sea. But trolls are a hardy and resourceful race. They adapted to island life and over thousands of years mastered the seas. Today, the Zandalari have a navy that rivals if not surpasses, the Kultirans, which makes them
Vale, los trolls
a
tienen
very
una
attractive ally to
gran
the Horde in this battle for
fuerza
Azeroth.
naval también, posiblemente mayor a la que de Kultiras.
But when we arrive there,
Eran
we'll find that
como todos
things are
sabemos,
not
un
going
imperio
great for
troll
the
de los
Zandalar.
primeros
And
que
before
surgieron,
we can get them to
pero que
join
con el
us, we're gonna need
cataclismo,
to restore
con el
some
primer
order.
cataclismo, el Sundering,
Like Kultiras,
les partieron las
Zandalar is broken
tierras
up
y
into
tuvieron que
3
adaptarse
main
a la vida
regions. We've got
marina.
Zuldazar in the south, the swamp of
El
Nazmir in
continente
the
está
northeast,
así
and the
un
desert of
poco
Vol'dun in the northwest.
tocado y también
take a
tiene
look at the
3
zones of
territorios
Zandalar.
como Kultiras.
All right.
Está
So,
Zul'Dalar,
starting with
que es toda la
Zuldazar
parte del
itself.
sur,
Zuldazar is
medio
the capital
continente
city of the
casi,
Zandalari, and also
y
the
es donde está
only
la
safe
capital.
refuge the Zandalari trolls have in this region. They're being attacked not just from outside their borders, but from within. This will also be the capital of the Horde in this expansion as they try to keep this empire from falling apart. Now, when we first arrive at Zuldazar, we
El
will
rey
meet King
Rastakhan
and his daughter, the mighty Princess Talanji. And with Talanji, we will explore and investigate a potential uprising from within Capital City.
Vale, tienen rebeldes en la
And if
ciudad
that
y
weren't
habrá
bad
una
enough,
línea de quest
Blood Troll
para ello.
invaders from the north, from the swamps of Nazmir, are
Y en la que
hammering
tenemos que
the
parar a
borders of
invasores
Zuldazar, making
trolls
things really hard for the
de
Zandalari.
sangre.
Let's take a look at a video of Zuldazar.
Vamos a ver cómo es la ciudad de Zuldazar. Con sus golems. Un guardián. Y sus dinosaurios montura. Aquí todo es más verde, pero me recuerda a cuando abrieron la zona que era como Egipto, así todo antiguo, todo. Esto sí es como entrar en el mundo azteca, pero con trolls y colmillos.
Epic. Videos are nice, but they don't even do the actual zone justice. Once you get in there, it's amazing. Okay, on to one of my favorite zones.
La
Nazmir.
segunda zona es
Before the
Nazmir,
Cataclysm,
que es
Nazmir
una zona
was a
pantanosa.
lush forest. But when Deathwing broke the world, he shook something loose, and Nazmir started sinking into the sea. Today, it's a wretched, festering swamp, which turns out is the perfect environment for blood trolls to thrive in. The same blood trolls attacking Zuldazar today.
Es donde está la base
Now,
de
to
los
defeat
trolls de
these blood
sangre
trolls, we are going to need to enlist
y
the
donde
aid
hacen
of
todo
powerful Loa.
mucho
And for
vudú.
those of you that don't know, Loa are basically gods to the trolls. Up there we've got one Samdi, who some of you may know, and Kragwa, the frog Loa, who you'll definitely want to know if you want that sweet frog mount. I know you do. I know you do.
Una montura rana.
Now, as we're digging through the muck in Nazmir, we will uncover ancient Titan secrets in a Titan facility. And inside that facility, there might hold the key to destroying all life on Azeroth, which clearly we do not want. And I hope the Alliance is paying attention here. There are things you're going to need to do as well. And you know what's awesome? Nazmir is playable
Nazmir,
today on the
igual
show
que la
floor.
zona de la Alianza, está
So-
jugable ahí en la Blizzcon para que la
How'd that
gente
get
lo
in
vaya a
there?
probar.
Chris Metzen, good lord. So, let's take a look at a video of Nazmir.
Pantanos, ruinas. Esta zona es bastante más oscura que la de la capital, con sus fantasmas y sus esqueletos. Un zombie troll gigante mutante. Ahí ese skin de la troll de sangre está muy molón. Y aquí vemos algunos haciendo rituales.
Yeah.
Y Voldun,
All right.
La
Last
última
up
zona.
for Xanalar, we've got the desert of Vol'dun.
que es
Would you
un
believe
desierto.
That Vol'dun was once a vibrant jungle.
Antes era una
You probably believe
selva
that.
y ahora
It's
es un
full of fog.
desierto.
But all of that changed when the Akir, this mighty, savage group of old god minions, attacked this region thousands of years ago, leaving nothing but desert and ruin in their wake. So, what do the Zandalari do with an uninhabitable desert? Well, they use it to basically send off their criminals to.
Vale, es una zona
And
que fue
most of
atacada
them
por
died.
dioses antiguos
Most of them.
y por eso
Now,
pasó de ser
as-
una bonita selva a un
Yes, indeed.
desierto, y es donde
as
ahora mandan los
they're even
trolls a
purer
sus
person.
criminales.
As we
Y
explore
tenemos una
Vol'dun,
nueva
we
raza
will
ahí,
come
que son los
across a
Vulpera,
native race of fox people known as the Volpera,
que
who
son hombres
I know
zorro.
we will be compelled to help because of just how cute and cuddly they are. Just want to eat them up. And Vol'dun's got its share of baddies as well, like these snake men, the Sethrak, who will make sure that your stay here is unpleasant. Let's take a look at a video of Vol'dun.
Y vemos el vídeo de Voldun. Como Silithus, una zona desértica con esqueletos de dinosaurios gigantes. Pedazo de bicho. Y aparte de los criminales, parece que tenemos un pequeño imperio de hombres serpiente. Veo que todavía se conserva una pequeña zona verdosa, un pequeño oasis. Ese rinoceronte con cuernacos, colmillos, hienas. Bien,
Alright.
bien, bien. Tendremos variedad en las zonas, lo que no sé si
That was Zandalar.
siendo alianza puedes ir a estas zonas y siendo horda puedes ir a las zonas de la alianza.
In Legion, we did the character story for Illidan, and we really liked how that turned out across the patches. And which, by the way, it's not quite done yet.
Y aquí
We'll
vemos
get there pretty soon.
las skins mejoradas
so,
de los
for Battle
cuatro
for Azeroth, we wanna do a lot
protagonistas
more
de
now.
la
We want to involve more
de la
characters.
historia.
So we want to follow
Jaina,
the lives of
Anduin, Sylvanas y Thrall.
the Lion, Stormwind,
Thrall hace tiempo que no
Sylvanas,
sabíamos nada.
as they lead their people through this war. And of course, we're going to adventure with Jaina
¿Cómo ha
as she
crecido
goes to
el
her
joven
homeland,
Anduin?
Kultiras. We'll find out where she's been, because I know you're all asking. Where she is at today, and most importantly, where she's going. What about Thrall? Where is the orc that founded this new horde? What's his place in all of this? And lastly, we're not going to go to the cradle of troll civilization without exploring the story of our favorite troll, Vol'jin. Thank you, everyone.
Descubriremos la historia
You've been
antigua
an
de
amazing
Vol'jin,
audience.
que ahora
Ian's up
está
next.
pobrecito muerto y por eso han sacado la urna en la mano de Thrall. La nueva
We told
líder
you
de
we'd
la
get back
horda
to
es
Vol'jin.
Sylvanas.
Thank you, Alex. Okay, so you have just heard all about the world that you're going to be exploring. Let me start talking a bit about how you're going to be exploring it. So just some of the basics first. So as Alex mentioned, we have 6 zones spanning 2 continents. 3 on Kultiras, 3 on Zandalar. And because of the nature of the story here, the way you're going to level up, Alliance players will head off to Tiragard initially, Horde players will head off to Zuldazar, and you will level to 120, primarily in your own faction's continent, as you learn to understand their problems and solve those problems.
Vale, se llegará al nivel 120 jugando solo en las zonas de tu facción. Aunque cada uno podrá ir jugando a su estilo. Y a nivel de 120 podrás ir al otro continente.
Might be easy to lose track of the larger conflict in which Azeroth as a whole is embroiled. And so just as we had the garrison campaign in Warlords,
supongo que será una cosa instanciada que no te podrás ver con todos los demás jugadores.
Alliance and Horde war campaign arcs that will weave their way throughout the level up experience and beyond, anchoring you in the larger war consuming the world, as well as beginning to lead you to the opposite faction's lands. So you'll start to build up some outposts in Kultiris as a Horde player. You'll start to build up some outposts in Zandalar as an Alliance player that will set the stage for the eventual 120 experience when it all opens up. Now at max level, there will be world quests, there will be emissaries.
Como
Very
jugador,
happy with how this has played out in Legion. We want to continue to build upon it, refine it,
empezarás a hacer una base, una cabeza de puente en el continente del contrario, que es lo que usarás a partir de nivel 120 para poder atacar a la facción rival.
Allied races. So, as we've heard, the lines of battle here have been drawn. It's hard to remain neutral in Azeroth going forward. Alliance and Horde are looking for all the help they can get. And part of what that
y ahora nos van a decir las razas aliadas
potential allies, turning to friends
que podemos
we've
encontrar.
been through great hardship together, and seeing if they will join our cause. And you, as a champion of the Alliance or champion of the Horde, are going to be one of those doing that. You will reach out to these allies, see what other problems they have, see if they will join the Alliance, see if they will join the Horde, playing through
a ver si esto significa que tendremos nuevas razas jugables.
Solisra and the Nightborn come to join the Horde, or how Ilaria and the crack elite squad of elves that she has trained to harness the power of the Void come to make their home in the Alliance, hardening the rift between her and her sister. You will play through those quests, and once you do, you will unlock the ability to make that allied race as a new character across your account.
Vale, pues sí. Primero tendremos que jugar la campaña para desbloquear las nuevas razas y luego podremos hacernos personajes de esas nuevas razas.
We need to tell the story to explain why these races came into the faction, and it's up to you to make it happen. Now, allied races, like regular races, have new racials that are appropriately flavorful for where they're coming from. Varied customization, as makes sense for what the race is. Lightforged Draenei have various holy markings across their body that you can customize. Lots of facial hair options, of course, for the Dark Iron Dwarves with their ember-flecked beards from their time by the Forge. But one difference is that allied races actually begin at level 20. They're a bit more advanced, and we know that if you're playing one,
bien, estas razas nuevas empezarán al nivel 20, no tendrás que empezar al nivel 1. Pero sabiendo cómo está, siempre podrás hacerte un power level hasta nivel 110 o así, seguramente. Yo todavía tengo por usar las subidas automáticas a nivel 90 y a nivel 100. Aunque a mí me gusta subir personajes, la verdad. Jugando.
But in your heart of hearts, you've always wished you could be a Dark Iron Dwarven Paladin. We don't want to make you make a new character or abandon your main to make that happen. But at the same time, we also want to make sure it doesn't feel like that's the right or only or efficient way to do this. So if you level an allied race from 20 all the way to max, you will unlock a set of heritage armor, a cosmetic appearance that reflects the essence of what it means to be a Nightborn Elf or a Dark Iron Dwarf, that you can show off so that everyone who sees you understands what you've done. So just to sum up here, we have six allied races coming with Battle for Azeroth.
6 razas aliadas en el lanzamiento, pero están planeando más. Vale, si se sube una raza de nivel 110 te podrás comprar un set de armadura para que te da parecer personaje de esa raza.
with whom you fought and whom you aided in the Broken Isles, as well as if you are successful in your journey on Zandalar, the
Y
Zandalari
en Horda
trolls.
tenemos a los
Meanwhile,
nacidos de la
the
noche,
Alliance
los Tauren de
find
las
fast new
montañas altas
allies
y los
among the
trolls
forces
Zandalari.
Vargas, the Lightforged
Y en la
Denai,
alianza tenemos los
the
elfos
Void
de
Elves
vacío,
under Valeria's tutelage,
los Draenei's
and
forjados
it
de
will
la
work
luz
with
y
Mora
los
to
enanos
rekindle
oscuros.
and bring the Dark Iron
El
Dwarves
hierro negro,
into
el
the
hierro
Alliance
negro.
formally.
Eso hace que
So I know
haya
you caught
muchas nuevas
a
formas de
quick glimpse
personalizar.
of these allied races during the feature reveal. But
Y
let's
lo que
take a much
contaban
closer
antes, que
look.
si tú subes
Check out this
un
video.
Dark Iron Dwarf pero ya tienes un enano paladín alto subido, puedes desbloquear un skin para jugar un paladín, tu paladín enano con skin de enano hierro negro. Estos supongo que son los elfos de vacío. Mirad los enanos hierro negro. Y los trolls Zandalari con sus máscaras. Estos son muy esperados. Yo siempre juego en lanza negra.
Pretty cool. One nice thing about the cosmetic armor sets, and you saw all those heritage armor sets in that video, is as cosmetic transmog appearances, these are universal. So if you, for example, played a Dwarven caster and always wished you could have a more battle mage type look, doesn't matter if you wear cloth, you can still transmog it to look like that dark runic male and show that off. So now, I just mentioned that we are inviting players to journey through Azeroth once again, to start off with these allied races at level 20 and explore. Now, if you've done something like that recently, you've probably noticed the experience is kind of rough around the edges. Now, the content, the world, the stories, those hold up. Those are great. There's humor, there's life there. But the pacing of the experience is all off. If you're trying to play through, let's say, Hillsbrad, you'll quickly find that about halfway through the zone, a lot of the quests in your log are turning green or even gray. On the one hand, all the mechanics of the game are telling you to get out of there, to move along for better rewards, more experience, a place where you belong, while the story is telling you to stay, because you want to see what happens next.
Vale, dicen que la gente está subiendo demasiado rápido y que cuando llegas a una zona y empiezas a nivelar, las misiones suelen quedarse verdes, grises, con lo que ya casi no te dan experiencia. Pero aún no se ha acabado la historia de la zona y lo que quieren es mejorar eso y que la gente se quede acabando la historia y ganando la experiencia correspondiente.
And expand it to the entirety of World of Warcraft.
Vale, y harán que todas las zonas vayan subiendo a nivel que tú subes el personaje.
There'll be a couple of little differences in how it plays out here versus how it did in Legion. So first off,
que es lo que pasaba en Legión, que tú podías ir a cualquier zona y los bichos que encontrabas eran de tu nivel.
There are level ranges with minimums and maximum levels. For two reasons. If you are a brand new undead, you're a Forsaken starting off in Tirisfal Glades, we think it's important that when you look eastward towards the Plaguelands, there's a little bit of terror there. That's a scary, dangerous place. You're not strong enough to go there. And if you try, Welcome Bear will come out and hug you, and then you'll be back at your graveyard. And that's how it works. On the other hand, if you're a seasoned adventurer returning from a campaign in Northrend, and you come back to Elwyn Forest and find that the wolves and the bandits there are now still an even match for you, that kind of undermines your progression. So we're thinking about a structure more like, imagine Westfall scales from 10 to 60, imagine Burning Steps scales from 40 to 60. You're never going to out-level the zone while you're in it, but there's still some sense of progression, and once you've moved past the entire expansion, you do feel like you have surpassed it and you are more powerful. Now, speaking of expansions, we'd also like to take a step back from just zone choice and think about how you navigate expansions in the course of leveling up. So if you've leveled alts recently, you know the drill. You hit 58, you go to Hellfire Peninsula, you maybe do a zone and a half or so, depending on how many dungeons you're doing. Then it's off to Northrend. Well, what if you could choose? What if Burning Crusade content
vale.
scaled all the way from 60 to 80.
Hacen que la primera y la segunda expansión ahora son compatibles de nivel 60 a 80, así no tienes que ir directamente a Outland a nivel 58 y a Northrend a nivel 68, sino que puedas elegir cuál de las dos campañas quieres jugar, con lo que si no quieres ir a Burning Crusade puedes ir directamente al norte, a por el Rey Lich, Exánime. Y las mazmorras de esas zonas también se adecuarán al nivel, con lo que es una gran idea, la verdad. Uy, uy, uy.
You may have noticed the patch that just went live was 7.3.2. That was a small infrastructure thing. We have a proper 7.3.5 around the corner. It'll be coming to PTR in just a few weeks. And you will be able to see
y esto empezará en el siguiente parche, en el 7.3.5, antes de que salga la expansión. Bien, bien, bien.
All right. Now, a all-new feature wasn't mentioned in the features trailer. So, the battle for Azeroth is a battle between the Alliance and Horde for control of our world. But it's also a battle in which we will all be asked to stand up to safeguard our world. We will need to fight for its survival. And in the aftermath of the Legion's attack, our world is actually direly wounded. And Magni, speaker for Azeroth, speaker for her world soul, will reach out to us as some of her greatest champions and summon us, where we will commune with the world soul at the very beginning of our journey, and we will receive a gift. A gift from Azeroth herself.
Después del ataque de la Legión, el mundo está roto. Magni Barba Bronce llamará a varios personajes para hablar con el mundo en sí, con el corazón de Azeroth, y les dará un objeto, ese amuleto, a los que se conviertan en protectores del mundo.
Will be this medallion known as the Heart of Azeroth. And as Azeroth herself suffers, as she bleeds, her life essence actually seeps out throughout the world. It's incredibly powerful. It's a substance known as Azerite. And the unique property of this medallion is that when you encounter Azerite, when you come across it, a portion of that power will be reabsorbed, reconstituted into this medallion, into this Heart of Azeroth. Now, unlike the artifact weapons that you wielded in Legion, this artifact isn't something you're going to customize, doesn't have a huge trait tree to it. But what it does do is it serves as an incredibly potent power source that will unlock latent properties in many of the pieces of armor that you're going to come across and acquire throughout your journeys.
Vale.
So we're going to talk a lot more about this system in detail right back here at 4 o'clock in our gameplay and systems deep dive.
Cuando nos den este amuleto, podremos encontrar un nuevo material que es la acerita. Vale, y cuanto más acerita tenga, más poderoso se volverá este objeto. Y lo que hace es que diferentes sets de armadura que nos encontraremos jugando mejorarán dependiendo del nivel que tengamos nosotros en este amuleto.
Will require more levels in your amulet to equip, to access. But basically, when we looked at the artifact system, there were a lot of elements of progression that worked very well. There were others, such as making hard choices between empowering one specs weapon versus another, that weren't so great. Or lots of the inventory clutter, things like that. We're looking to improve a lot of the aspects of the system. We also want to give ongoing options for choice and customization, rather than the artifact weapon system where you made tons of choices back in September when you were first filling out the tree, but it's been largely linear progression since then. In this world,
aquí vemos un ejemplo de la rueda de progresión.
We currently have 3 in mind, will offer a potential for customization and choice in a handcrafted way. These are not random traits, unlike the Netherlight Crucible. A helm is a helm is a helm, and you can pick what you want to suit your playstyle, to suit your needs as you progress through the world. Again, more about this later. Now, islands. Island expeditions. So many of you may have been wondering as you saw the feature trailer, and you saw, plunder uncharted isles, you're probably wondering to yourself, what is an island? Well, an island is a body of land surrounded on all sides by water.
Bien.
Moving on.
Aquí ha hecho un chiste explicando que es una isla.
Have you exploring uncharted isles scattered across the Great Sea? As we've mentioned, Alliance and Horde are locked in this stalemate, and they're seeking all the
Y parece que tendremos misiones para ir a descubrir
all this unexplored land.
nuevas islas
Azeroth, this substance I mentioned earlier, bubbling to the surface,
desconocidas,
as well as other unclaimed resources that could aid the war on the home front. And so Alliance and Horde are both sending their scouts out to scour the sea in search of these locations. And that will naturally lead to the Horde and Alliance coming into conflict in the New World over these small pieces of territory as they each try to claim these resources and take them back home to fuel the war. Now, what does that mean for you, the player? So Island Expeditions are 3-player cooperative gameplay, role agnostic, and they are a culmination and a reflection of lessons that we have learned
Vale.
many years of developing
Misiones para 3 jugadores, para conquistar la isla, en la que habrá combate entre los jugadores Horda y Alianza, para recuperar los recursos que hay en la isla.
Is one of exploration. Of when you set out for an island, when you set out to an island, you don't know exactly what you're going to find. Even if you've been to that island.
Y eso, como son islas desconocidas, no sabemos lo que nos encontraremos cada vez que vayamos a una de ellas.
By a settlement of trolls. Some are peaceful, and if you work with them and perform quests for them and solve their problems, they will give you some of their stores. Others are hostile. You might return another time and find that an ancient curse has wiped out life on the island, and undead are rising from their graves, and there are crypts for you to explore. Yet another time,
cada vez que visitemos la isla las islas serán diferentes. Dice que una vez puedes ir y encontrarte un pueblo de trolls amistosos, otra vez puedes ir y que a una maldición los haya matado a todos y esté todo en ruinas, y que será todo súper rejugable.
And to add another layer of dynamic gameplay here. Again, as I mentioned, this is about Horde and Alliance skirmishing. And so, as you and your 2 allies roll up in a Horde ship, you will also find that shortly thereafter, 3 agents of the Alliance have arrived. And now these are NPCs, but they are not any NPCs that you've ever seen before. They're not just looking to run up to you and punch you or cast fireballs at you. They're not like scripted boss encounters.
Vale. Nuestros enemigos no serán jugadores del otro bando, sino que serán oponentes de inteligencia artificial, pero más inteligentes de lo normal.
And finally, if you want to match wits against 3 other players, you can do that too.
Se puede jugar contra otros jugadores, bien. Cuando entres en cola para entrar en una de estas islas, puedes elegir si quieres jugar contra PvP o contra PvE. Como si fuese un pequeño campo de batalla.
Island expeditions are small-scale skirmish in the New World. Warfronts tell the story of large-scale battles back on the home front. This is the battle for Azeroth between the Alliance and the Horde. This is what all the resources are for. This is what the alliances are for. This is the fight that we need to win.
Todos los recursos conseguidos se dedican a los Warfronts, que son las grandes batallas por el control de Azeroth.
Going back to Warcraft 2, going back to Warcraft 3. Let me give you this hypothetical fact pattern. You are the commander of an Alliance expeditionary force tasked with landing in enemy-controlled lands. Secure an outpost, build it up, secure supply lines, protect them, build up your base, upgrade your buildings, train troops, and then lead them out into enemy territory, eventually sieging and overwhelming the enemy fortification and crushing them. I just described about 2/3 of all Warcraft campaign maps right there. Well, this is World of Warcraft, and let's put you in that experience. This isn't an RTS, this is you as a champion on the front lines, playing out that fantasy, living that experience. What does this mean? A Warfront is a 20-player cooperative raid as you join Alliance Force, as you join a Horde Force, to build up a base and take on
Vale, estos son
a vast
raids de 20
enemy
jugadores.
entrenched, led by a powerful commander. And what you will do along the way is gather
Pero como si
resources,
fuese
build
un
structures, decide whether you want
Warcraft
the
de toda la
barracks or
vida,
stables
uno de
collectively,
estrategia en tiempo
upgrade
real.
those things,
Hay que hacer
train
edificios,
troops,
hay que
upgrade your
mejorarlos,
troops,
hay
and
que
lead those
liderar a
troops
las
into battle
tropas.
to claim ultimate victory on behalf of
Como
your faction.
veis, se puede
Now,
coger
both islands and
recursos,
Warfronts, I've just given you
metal,
a quick
madera y
high-level
comida.
overview, but again, at 4 p.m.,
Comida supongo
right
que
back
será el número
here
de tropas
in
que
our
puedes
Gameplay and
tener.
Systems deep dive, we'll be talking a lot more about both of these features. Okay. Now, the last couple of features I've talked about are primarily PvE features against large NPC armies. Battle for Azeroth is also going to be a great expansion for those of you who love PvP. So first off, we're adding a couple new arenas. We have a new arena coming in Kultiris, a new arena in Zandalar, capturing, the aesthetics
Para
of
los
those
que les
places,
gusta el
new
player
environments
versus player,
against-
van a
within
haber
which you can
dos
take your
arenas
skills against one.
nuevas, una en Tiragard y
We
otra en
also have a new
Zundalar.
battleground coming.
Un
called the
nuevo
Seething Shore.
Battleground.
Now, this battleground is located just off the coast of Silithus. For some reason, the Alliance and the Horde have decided that this barren stretch of desert is worth fighting over. I don't know why. There's nothing interesting going on in Silithus, but for some crazy reason, commanders of both factions decided to go fight over it. Weird. But as it turns out, for some reason, there's a lot of Azerite that seems to be bubbling to the surface in Silithus, and this becomes a natural point of contention. So the way this plays out is as a new type of battleground that has dynamic control points. So imagine Arathi Basin if there were multiple possible flag locations and you never knew exactly where the control point was going to spawn. You had to adapt, you had to keep on the move. Here's a quick look at the layout from an internal sketch of this battleground.
Vale, vamos a ver
Each of
un
those
poquito
crystal
del
nodes you see
mapa.
on the map is a potential point where an Azerite fusion could occur.
Vale,
I think there's about
la
3
cuestión es
active
que
at
es
a given
en
time.
Silithus,
So
donde
as you're
no
skirmishing
había
over
nada,
control of one,
y
you
ahora
might see
está
the one that's
empezando a
popped up
aparecer
on the other side of the
Acerita, y
map.
por eso
You have to make a choice between
tanto la
how many
Alianza como
people
la
you're gonna
Horda
keep
va a
to try to
pelear por
contest
esta zona.
the current one versus who's going to break off and try to claim the new one. Very fast-paced action, keep you on your toes. Really excited
Y
about
que
this.
son puntos de
And it's
control
actually
aleatorios, que no
part of the
sabes
story that we're
cuál
telling. It's
va a
part of the
aparecer
events that will
y
lead up
por cuál se va
to
a
Battle for
pelear, con lo
Azeroth.
que hay que estar en
So
constante
as
movimiento.
such, we also want to get this in your hands a bit before Battle for Azeroth itself.
Y también saldrá en el parche 7.3.5 antes de que
So
salga la
keep an eye on the
expansión.
PTR, and we want to get this coming your way soon. We're also going to continue to expand upon successful systems like the PvP brawls. We want to keep adding new ones. All of those things are here to stay. But that's instance PvP. I know there are many of you for whom world PvP is what you're all about. Whether it was 13 years ago ganking noobs in Stranglethorn Vale, making people switch to their mains to come get you, or just being a terror of World Quest areas today, it's the thing that you love. And you might feel like it hasn't been treated with the respect it deserves over the years. We agree. In a lot of ways, our PvP rule set for World PvP hasn't really changed since 2005. I guess we got rid of dishonorable kills about 10 years ago. So we should bring them back. No. But the way in which you play the game has
Van a
changed
cambiar todo lo que va a ser
over the
el
years. Server
player
transfers
versus
opened up.
player
People want to move around to play with their
en
friends, to
zonas
find new
abiertas.
guilds. As it turns out, most people prefer to
A ver si es
transfer to
verdad.
servers where their faction is already dominant.
Me sigue molestando un montón que estar haciendo una quest tan tranquilo y que venga un grupo de hordas y me maten porque sí.
You could be trying to fight someone and they could, CC you, get away, mount up, fly away, you never see them again. And much more recently, we have cross-realm gameplay. You might join a World Quest group in the pre-made group finder, and even though you're on a PvP server, you could join the group and suddenly find that you're surrounded by orange names because you just landed on a PvE realm, or vice versa. In a lot of ways, our rule set doesn't necessarily make a ton of sense for the way the game is right now and how people play the game. That's something we'd like to re-examine. And so I think there's two audiences that we're thinking of as we approach these changes.
Van a
First
cambiar
off,
las reglas.
there are likely many of you in the audience and watching at home who play on PvP servers today, but it's not really the gameplay you're looking for. You're there because that's where your friends wanted to be. That's where you ended up many years ago. You don't want to pay money for a server transfer. You don't want to leave your friends to change that. But you might be actually sitting here hearing about and thinking about this expansion we're talking about, where you'll be venturing into enemy-controlled lands with a bit of trepidation, thinking that sounds actually pretty frustrating. On the other end of the spectrum, there are those of you who love World PvP and feel like, exactly, and feel like that's part of what makes World of Warcraft, and you want more of it. You want it to be more balanced, you want it to be more interesting, and you want it to occur more organically. We agree. So the core of the changes we're looking at are actually, first and foremost, getting rid of this arbitrary division between PvP and PvE server rule sets, where you're locked in permanently on a given server, and unless you transfer and leave your friends, you can't change that. We want to make this an individual toggle, unifying our servers into a single rule set.
Vale. Harán que todos los servidores sean iguales, ya no habrá servidores PvE y servidores PvP, y que si quieres entrar en PvP simplemente tienes que activarte la banderita de que estás en el PvP.
Opted into that gameplay. And if you don't want to, don't. What this lets us do, on the one hand, people who feel trapped on PvP servers now have an easy way out. On the other hand, we have a foundation upon which we can build a new generation of World PvP content. In the past, whenever internally we would think about and debate ideas for really cool
Si esto funciona bien, a los que nos gusta hacer quest tranquilos, ya no nos vendrán a matar los de la otra facción solo por vernos, porque no tendremos activado el PvP. Espero que sea verdad.
We could create all new content, whether it's bounty hunting quests or quests that send you to assassinate high-value targets in enemy territory, and encourage some of that organic conflict and reward it in a way that we never could before. Now, also, we realize you may be hearing this and thinking, well, why would I ever activate PvP just to go out and do my world quests? That feel like this is probably just going to be a bunch of people deathmatching across our zones, turning them into giant arenas. And that's not actually what World PvP is about, right? World PvP is that organic encounter that occurs. And so, in order to offset that inefficiency, we do want to offer some bonuses to something like experience gain, reputation gain, where it makes sense for questing with PvP mode enabled. The point of this is not to make this feel like the right or the only way to play if you don't like PvP, but rather to make it feel like it's worth your time if you do. Play the way you want to play. We'll have a lot more to talk about this in the future, but the aim of these changes is to build a foundation upon which we can make World PvP great again.
Lo que quieren es que el PvP en zona abierta sea jugable y bien, con lo que pondrán incentivos. A ver cómo lo hacen.
Each faction will have separate level up dungeons associated with your continent, 4 in Kultiras, 4 in Zandalar, and then all 10 open up when you hit max level and you gain some new motivations to go into some of those places.
Vale, 4 mazmorras nuevas en cada continente.
Mythic Keystones also here to stay.
Solo podrás acceder a las de tu facción hasta que llegues a nivel 120, entonces podrás acceder a todas. Seguir habiendo lo del nivel mítico, cosas a las que yo no he podido acceder por jugar solo. Pero bueno.
A system that we've heard fantastic feedback from the community about. We love this as really making dungeons a continued part of the endgame. Let's talk about some specific dungeons. First off, Freehold. Freehold is located in Terragard Sound. This is a hive of scum and villainy.
Que es la ciudad donde se han estado protegiendo los piratas, es una de las mazmorras.
To some of the problems that Kultiras is facing. let's take a look at a video of Freehold.
Y vemos un vídeo de Freehold. Como puerto pirata hay barcos anclados. Gente colgada. El zorrito pirata es adorable. Como no, ogros. Y este será el rey pirata.
Yeah, that was an ogre with a shark for its arm, but... Okay. On the other continent, we have a dungeon known as Ataldazar. This is a tomb of ancient Zandalari kings located
Otra
in the zone of
mazmorra que hay en
Zul'Dazar.
Zul'Dalar.
But there are dark forces present here. Trolls conducting horrible rituals, dinosaurs, undead dinosaurs, and all sorts of other threats. Let's take a look at a video for this dungeon.
Que era una cripta donde enterraban a los antiguos reyes Zaldalari. Mira, un velociraptor momia. Hacen rituales oscuros. Una araña.
So both of those dungeons are also fully playable here on the show floor today, for a total of 4 separate experiences. Alliance questing, Horde questing, Alliance dungeon, Horde dungeon. Grab 4 friends, make some new ones, check out the dungeons. We can't wait to hear your feedback.
Y estas dos mazmorras son jugables en la Blizzcon también. Qué envidia no poder estar allí.
But these are scattered across the new lands. Special call out to the Shrine of the Storm. This is
Aquí tenemos el nombre de todas las 8 mazmorras, aparte de las 2 mostradas.
Tomorrow afternoon on the legendary stage, and you can see our encounter team design out one of the bosses in this dungeon live. The very bottom of this list is also a place that's not in Kultiras and not in Zandalar, Kazan. Now, this is a favorite location of ours we've wanted to revisit for some time. Knowing goblins, if you do, you might not be surprised to hear that once word spread of this substance known as Azeroth, they immediately set out to dig and dig and dig and see what they could uncover to control it for themselves. And who knows what else they found in the process.
Bien, después del cataclismo que tuvimos con los goblins que abandonar Kazan, ahora parece que habrá que volver y es donde habrá una forma de conseguir acerita en Kazan. Aparte, Uldir es una nueva raid de 8 jefes, que es donde empieza la corrupción de Zandalar, donde están los trolls de sangre.
It didn't go so well. This place has been shut down, sealed away for thousands of years until now. And we'll have to go in there to face off against the source of Zandalar's corruption. Inside, we'll see a new spin on some Titan architecture, as we see in a concept from one of our dungeon artists here. We'll be facing off against all manner of delightfully slimy foes. Little tiny person, sorry, tank. At least doesn't have ankles for you to look at. You'll be looking at a belly. Now, this is the first raid. This is the High Mall. This is the Emerald Knight.
Esta es la primera mazmorra que nos enfrentaremos a cosas de los titanes, aparte de los trolls. Y aquí tenemos a una super babosa en la que le pegaremos en la barriga porque es enorme.
There are some that we have heard a lot from in Legion. You know, some Tidestone related stuff. And so yes, before all is said and done in Battle for Azeroth, we'll be facing off Queen Ashara against Queen Ashara.
Y en Battle for Azeroth, como jefe final de una raid, tendremos a la reina Ashara.
And so the stage is set.
Al reino de
For
los
the battle for
nagas.
Azeroth. We have crimson red continent in the west, royal blue in the east, and a vast expanse of ocean in between. We as champions of the Alliance and the Horde will set out to explore islands, battle on warfronts, and uncover mysteries that threaten to undermine the very world beneath our feet. Because at the end of the day, does it matter who wins the battle for Azeroth if there's nothing left for the victor to claim? So thank you so much for coming out. Thank you so much for joining us for the beginning of this adventure. It's
No se sabe cuándo
always
saldrá
a joy. We
todavía.
have so much more information to share over the course of the afternoon here at
Y
Blizzcon,
parece que van a cortar
starting
aquí
in just a few hours
y
right
no
back
nos
here on the
cuentan
stage.
nada
If you have any questions about what
del
you've
World of
heard,
Warcraft Classic,
submit
de
those
los
questions up at the
servidores
document
nuevos que
fair
van a
or
abrir.
online for our Q&A tomorrow afternoon, focused exclusively on Battle for Azeroth content and what lies ahead.
Bueno,
Also check out
bueno,
our
bueno.
art panel and legendary stage tomorrow, and so much more. Thank
Tendremos
you
que mirar
so,
otra
so
forma de
much.
saber qué es lo
Welcome
que
to
van a hacer
Blizzcon.
con el
Have a
servidor
wonderful
clásico.
weekend.
Porque seguramente yo querré probarlo, querré revisitar el antiguo Azeroth. Pues bueno, hasta aquí este vídeo. Mailman Grumpy de los Crying Grumpies, ya sabéis, podéis seguirnos en nuestro blog, cryinggrumpys.com, aquí en el canal de YouTube, donde colgamos un montón de cositas. Hasta el próximo vídeo.